with it, thank you for your service from one veteran to another.
Cheers, man.
And it's holding accountable to our governments for the volunteerism that we did during that time and getting them to take care of us on the back end, and the fact that we actually can, it's important. And I really wish more veterans would come out of that victim state and engage in that post-traumatic growth mindset and seek out those services and like take accountability of like, yeah, you signed up, yeah, you may be fucked up or not, but you can move forward, you can heal. Just like anything else, we go to the gym to get stronger, we go to a garage to get our truck fixed, and why not go seek some mental health to get us emotionally, spiritually healed and move forward. So yeah, congrats on finding that end and pursuing that, and also continuing to help within the community for that.
Yeah, well, it was tough. I mean, to be honest, without going like too far down it, I never did any tours. I got in some shit. I got injured. I lost my tour, right? But I buried 9 of my friends in 6 months, right?
Yeah.
And like that's tough. You have survivor's guilt. You have all this, but the craziest part was like I came back and I was an angry fucking dude, right? Like
same.
I was,
Same.
yeah, right. Like you got to deal with it, right? So there's outlets and things like that, and mental health is obviously super super important, but it was actually getting the psychology help of the programming that every soldier goes through to do what they need to do. And I get why the programming exists, but it's also like it's crazy, man. It's crazy how long it got to the idea that because I didn't go overseas, it's okay, right? And it took me a long time to get over that, right? And all the pain I've been in and everything that I have to deal with on a daily basis, I felt like I deserved that pain because I didn't go overseas and because I wasn't killed, right? And like I felt bad for getting help from Veteran Affairs because I never seen tour, I never seen an action, I never seen this shit, right? And for all my boys that have got the help, or I should say are trying to get the help, like Veteran Affairs is not great, to be perfectly honest. I'm sure you know what that's all about because the States, I've heard it's even worse, right? But it's like reach out, suck your fucking ego up, let it go. Yeah, you're a man, hoorah, you're fucking alpha bro, like great. Now go get the fucking help you need so your family doesn't have to deal with your bullshit, right? And that's a man to me, as somebody that can really like own up to their shit. They know that they're suffering, not just physically, because physical is easy. Like, I feel bad, Veteran Affairs should pay for my massages and my surgeries, right? But what about your mental health, right? And I would say of all the things that I've been very lucky to get, it was the 40 plus hours of psychological help to deprogram me to learn how to become a civilian again, right? And like, go get help. If there's any veterans watch right now, like, go get help, guys. Reach out, suck your ego up, go get the help, because that shit's gonna get you killed one day. You're gonna be angry, you're gonna fucking throw a fist at somebody, he's gonna pull out a gun or a knife and just stab the shit out of you, right? Why? Because you have ego issues. Like, come on, right? And so it's been cool to be able to watch that. I've done some corner work for some MMA fighters, and a lot of those guys, are veterans. Like my buddy Jesse Veltri, he was one of the first guys in Canada to have a service dog in the ring. Obviously not while he's fighting, right? But it's like that was cool. I was very proud to be a part of that, because it was like he was getting the help he needs. When you go from, I don't know how many pills he was at, but like when you go from like 50 pills a day down to 3 because now you have a dog, like that says something. So
yeah, that's the thing about accountability and responsibility, because if we want to have these freedoms after an indentured servitude, because let's face it, military service is indentured servitude, volunteer at that. But the fact is, if we want to express and live that life of liberty and freedom, well, we have to take the responsibility and the accountability of that by going and seeking the means and methods to do better. And yeah, that the survivor's guilt, having not been there, done that. I mean, we were at war for 20 years, and it's amazing that so many people did not make it to the sandbox, myself included.
yeah.
But the causal effect that that community has. I mean, we're forever touched, as is the rest of the world for it. But like having lived in that community, operated in that community, and felt the lives lost because of that, not just like physically lives lost, because I mean I've lost a fair amount of friends as well due to combat,
Yeah.
and more importantly, more from suicide. Um, but it's still the lives lost of that innocence, that the mentality
Yeah.
of growth. Because I often look back and into literature, as to how many poets, painters, deep thinkers, and artists did we lose to war, and not just in the physical aspect, but like spiritually and intellectually. And so when it
Yeah,
comes
man,
to
for sure.
martial arts, it is a process of healing. But again, with the military, our programming is default aggression. Our language of emotional capacity is default aggression, because our fear response, or anger, our fear response defaults to anger, and that defaults to aggression. It's that whole thing, like turn pain into purpose. But
Yeah.
it's a misnomer, because yeah, turn pain into purpose, but turn that purpose into peace, not just fight through it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but and that is particular to that situation. But
Yeah.
I have to look at life after the fight. Got to look at life after service. And also
Yeah.
you got to deal with this thing, like the conditional identity valuation thing of like, we were so conditioned that we are soldiers, we are warriors, this is who we are, this is what we do, and part of that equates to that this is all that we can be, and our currency is based upon our capability. And if we can't fight or haven't been blooded and tested, then our value is lessened. And that's a hard thing to deprogram, because
It
violence
is.
is a
Yeah.
currency. And with cultures like that, especially in the military, and we'll go back to your upbringing, is that when violence is a currency and a sense of identity, that is very damaging for like that growth mindset. Because as men, as warriors, we are more than our violence. We're more than our violent capability, because we're fathers, we're husbands, we're men who love our community. And this is why we signed up in the first place, in a righteous standpoint, for that act
Yeah.
of service, for the love of that community.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, a lot of people, first of all, like, beautifully said, man. Like, that's
Thank you.
it's so true, right? Um, but I think that's why martial arts, especially jujitsu, right? And
Hmm.
FMA to a degree, because FMA brings in the idea of extreme violence. Like
Hmm.
you're teaching yourself and students how to kill people, basically, right? But in jujitsu, like it gives you a feeling like you're fighting, right? It gives you a feeling like I'm able to let this anger outside of me become something in a safe environment amongst other people who also want to better themselves, right? And I think that's what's so awesome. That's why I encourage like so many veterans, like just come in and train, come in and do something,